Another new job. This is going to be an interesting one, this one. Now, we're in a, like you say, we're in a room, used to be a garage, but it's in the process of being converted. You can see there's two doors behind me now rather than a garage door. Now, we're going to be putting in some lights and some sockets, but this room's being split into different rooms. So there's going to be potentially three different lighting circuits, a socket circuit, and an outside light. The client has laid out some bits and pieces to help me locate where the cabling should go, where the internal walls are going to go, things like this. We're going to put some temporary lights in just to keep the lighting in here, and then the proper lights will go in at a later stage. Got some complications which I'll show you in a second, and I'll show you what we've got in here already and what we're going to have to modify. So let's just show you around. Let's start the front of that properly. Anyway, cool. Okay, so that door goes to the main house. That door goes straight outside. So the client has very helpfully laid down, this is where the wall is going to go for that, and that's basically going to be the gas cover. So when the gas balls arrive, gas balls are old fashioned, shows my age, they can look at that and look at the gas meter and all that stuff. That's been moved apparently. You can see that the bonding cable is running off to the consumer unit, which I'll show you in a second. So that's the interior wall there. So we're going to put a light in there, and that's what that cross is for. That cross there. And then we've got to find a place for the light switch. Now we can't put it there, and we can't put it on the other side because that door opens that way. So might have to be a pull cord switch there. So that's the first issue. So the second thing is the rest of this room, as you can see. Currently we've got a strip light in place, but we're going to have a light there. The plan is to have a light there, a light there, and a light there. So that's three, but probably there might be a fourth, but I don't know. So there's going to be three lights here. As you can see there, there's a 1.5 cable already laid to that light, so that's done. Back of the room, so this is the other wall that's going in across there. So we're going to need a light, one or two lights in this section. The light switch is going in behind that piece of tarpaulin there, so that's where that is. Then that door comes out. I believe this is a solid, I'm not pretty sure that I think this is a solid wall. It doesn't really matter for the electrics, but anyway. Now the ceiling's not been plastered, so that's not happening. So, but the client's asked not to drill into the wall, into the ceiling. So what's really good about this is I can intercept this cable and use this cable to power all the lights in all the rooms. And it's coming down, coming down there into the board, and it's actually on that MCB. So all I'm going to do is reuse that cable, probably get rid of that light switch we'll have to get rid of, and we'll have to replace that piece of conduit, but that's fine. We can reuse that cable, get some quick wire bits and bobs that we can install, and put some temporary lights into those bobs. Your uncle should be reasonably straightforward, and I won't have to touch the main house electrics at all. I am going to be testing this, making sure that there's no issues with the cable before I start. It probably isn't because the light's working, but we'll just check it anyway. Now the other thing that the client's wanting to have is to have an extra socket here. Now we've got two sockets there, but I can't come across that way because that's the main incoming cable. So I can't come across that. So what we're going to do is we're going to reuse this piece of conduit, and that's already got a 1.5 cable in there already. We're going to stick a 2.5 in there, T-piece in there, conduit across there, down to that socket. Easy job. A little bit more stuff that we need to do, but anyway. So yeah, so we're going to extend that cable. It's going to be extended that way, and obviously we're going to have to tee it off, junction box it, and tee it off into here. So this whole room, all three of these rooms, will be controlled by that switch, and then we've got the garage sockets there, and they're all connected to that RCD. The property's due an inspection as part of the job I'm actually doing. Going to inspect it. It's actually got full paperwork for all the electrics that were done. Anyway, we'll get on. I'm going to draw some diagrams up and do some testing first before I start doing things, and then we'll get on with this. We've got an outside light to put in as well, which is the other side of this door. There's another door, there's a porch, and then this door, then there's an outside light. And what they've requested is to probably the easiest thing to do is actually use the same cable again to control the outside light. So everything on the left side of the building, which has been changed, which is what this all is. This is all changed. Will be all in one circuit. It shouldn't be an issue, and then it means I can work and leave the main building alone. I won't have to turn anything off. Yeah, good. Right, I'll just show inside the board what we've got to work with. So what we've got is this B32 is the garage sockets. Now that is, as you can see from the top, it looks like it's a ring, and if you look down here, this is the conduit going down. In there, as you can see, there's 2.5 cables running just to these two sockets. So for some reason they've put in a ring just to those two sockets, which is a bit bizarre to say the least. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert that over to a radial, change that 32 to a 20, and then what we'll do is we'll run a new piece of 2.5 out of there up here, and I've been able to, looks like I'm going to be able to locate a new piece of 20mm conduit up here. So this bit here is going to go across to the sockets, and that bit's going to carry on to the light. So there'll be a 1.5mm in here and a 2.5 singles will run along here, but it will be a 1.5 twin and earth in here, because obviously what we're doing up here, which is this thing. So we're going to relocate, realign this one, which runs down here into here, and then all the cables run all the way along here to there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that out and realign it down here. Then that cable can run along this beam, and it's way away from the gas pipe here, because you're not really supposed to run electrics alongside gas pipes, not really. So anyway, go on there. So I think that's what we'll do. Sorry for the door squeaking in the background. So I think that's what we'll do. So luckily I can get that squeezed between the PIR, which is part of the alarm system, and I can run that up there. It will be longer, obviously, and that will be higher up, but I'm just doing that just for proving it'll work. So realign that all up there. So 1.5 twin and earth and 2.5 singles, and they'll go that way along there. So that's fine. So we just need to convert that over to being a radial. That, by the way, I've done some measuring. That is actually in the right place. Might not look it, but it is. Okay, so that's what we need to do. So yeah, okay. And obviously, if I'm going to be realigning that, this is all coming out. This will all come out, and then I've got a blind grommet which I can fill that hole in, so I don't need to worry about that. And then there's a lockout there which we can go into behind all those bits, which is fine. Yep, we can do that. Okay, so while I've got the board off, I thought I'd get these readings ready for this. So let's bring that recall up. So there we go. So we've got 0.29 for the ZE and 837.3 amps. Right, so let's just give an update. That's where we are. My nice, very clear diagram about what I'm doing. Anyway, so very quickly, like I said, we've had that board off. So we're going to run the 2.5mm singles in that direction, 1.5. Now, this is where I was thinking about what I'm going to do up here. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring that 1.5mm up to here, But obviously then we've got to split all the cable off and going in different directions. It's dusty in here. Now that's where the one of the lights is going to go temporarily. So we're going to mount a quick wire there, sorry, and a junction box, and the junction box is going to feed the power cable through here, which is going to power this light. So there'll be a quick wire up there somewhere to do that. So quick wire here, and then the power feed and the load feed will come off here to these two lights and that light. So there's 3 lights being fed by that quick wire. Does that diagram explain that any easier? Probably not. Probably not, to be honest. Yeah, it probably doesn't explain it any easier. It explains it to me. I know what's going on. Now, over here, we had a real issue. Obviously, we've got the mains gas coming in. Now, we were originally thinking a pulse cord switch, because I can't. Then I thought maybe I could mount a normal switch. However, both of those have a problem. They're going to cause a spark. And I don't think that's a good idea near a gas pipe. Maybe I'm being overcautious, perhaps, but I don't think that's a good idea, having a switch right next to a gas pipe. So what we're going to do is somehow we're going to have this as a PIR, a sensor light, so that when this door opens, the light comes on. I think that's the safest option that we've got here, that keeps all the cables away from the gas pipes and stuff. Now, on the far side, I'll just show you down here. Behind here, that's where that switch is mounted. Now, obviously, we've got no way of getting a cable to that. So that is going to be a wireless Energy switching system that we're going to put into that. Up on there somewhere. There'll be a light up there somewhere. Anyway, so that's where we are. I've just been gathering all my gear together. I've got to go and get a 20 amp MCB and some other gubbins from various places, which I'm going to go and do in a minute. And then we're going to come in very early tomorrow. Not sure where I'm going to start in the morning. I might decide to do the socket, because I don't have to turn the lights off then. Might do the socket, rearrange the wiring for those two down there, get that done. Oh, one thing. This cable going up here and in there. What a bit of a surprise. That goes through directly to a bedroom next door and feeds a TV directly. So that cable comes all the way down here, all the way around here, and is plugged into there. So I am going to see what I can do about sorting that out and making that a bit neater. Let's see what we can do with that, because that's a bit silly really. Even if I was to bring that, because that's going to be a wall there. So we've got to do something with that, because it can't dangle there. So we're going to have to do something with that. Not entirely sure I know what just yet. At the very least, that cable's going to have to come through that beam in order to come down past this wall, because that's where the orange and blue is. That's a wall there, or it will be. So that can't be there. So that's going to have to move. So we'll have a think about how we can do that. At the very least, get it moved away from there and possibly plugged into there, at least temporarily. And then I'll have a think about maybe there's a way we can put a more permanent solution in. Unfortunately, at the other side of the wall, it's plastered. The cable's plastered into the wall. So pulling it out is liable to do quite a bit of damage the other side of the wall. So we'll have to have a think about that. Possibly it could be done and we could just pull it out, repair the damage to the plasterwork, put a proper double socket in that side and run a twin and earth cable. Something, maybe we could do something like that. I need to have a think about how we do that. Yeah. Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise thinking about that. Anyway, we'll worry about that later. So those will be that's fine as a radial, 28 radial into there, and then teed off in there and then up there. And, you know. Anyway, so that's where we are. Like I said, spent most of the day doing testing, checking circuits and making sure I know where things are and just planning things out. So I knew that's what was going to be happening today. And then big shopping list that I needed for bits for tomorrow. So I'll be here first thing in the morning. So good morning, and so you join us as I've already started putting in the new conduit for the sockets. So we've dropped it down a bit for the horizontal because there is going to be a ceiling put in. So it's going to be lower than that. So that's as high as we can get. I think the ceiling's going to come down probably about halfway through that top brick, so I can't go any higher than that. So I'm going to come across there. So we're going to come across there and then we'll bring down into the board. Now obviously the thing I realised last night is I'm coming in on that side of the board and I've got to do a knockout. And of course I can't completely deaden this board because there's no isolator switch here. So the top of those master switches are going to be live. So I'm going to have a bit of a think about that before I go fiddling around there. But before we get there anyway, I need to start running cables into here. See it all nice and straight. Yeah, so we'll get on with that. As you can see, we've got the power off. This was scary because, as I said, I suddenly realised last night that in trying to put this in, it was going to be directly above that, which, as you can probably see, has not been the best terminated piece of equipment. Hasn't been the best terminated piece of equipment in the world. And I was crapping myself that I was going to touch those. I nearly did just a minute ago. My stray thumb, shall we say, got very close. What I had to do is, in order to give myself room to work on this, is I had to disconnect these three neutrals to give me room to get behind. As you see, there's actually a little bit of room behind there. But we've got it in. Getting the cables across will be fun in a minute. But yeah, when I look at this more closely, this part of the inspection, that's not really great either, the way that's been done. And also, if you look down there, there's no glanding there whatsoever, and the protective bar's missing in here. So all that's going to have to go down on the report. I can't replace the protective gland because to do that I'm going to have to disconnect the cables, and I can't do that unless I can kill the cable, unless I can kill the power. So I'm going to recommend an isolator switch be put in at some point in the future, and we'll go with that. So I have no idea why there's a handy block there. It's baffling. Anywho, so we've managed to do that. Let's just do that. I've got a new camera here, seeing it doesn't go into focus. That's better. We're in focus now. So we've got a handy block there. I don't know why. I'm a bit baffled by that. My guess is that this board's been moved. Anyway, I'm waffling. So yeah, so we've done that. We've got our 20 MCB, which is replacing that one. We've got that, so we'll do that at a later time. But now that we've got that in, we can now get the conduit finished and the cable run through, and then we can run with that, and then we'll have a go at the lighting. Okay, let's give a bit of an update as to where we got to. So we've got that socket on the wall. 2.5mm singles are in there connected to that so they don't pull through. 20mm conduit, inspection bend coming along, 3 box, and then along there another piece of conduit. There's the singles coming down. That's the length of conduit that's been fitted into the board. That was fun. What we're doing now is we're going to put in all the cabling for the lights. Now, what I'm still trying to think of is whether I'm going to come down here with the 1.5mm to Twin and Earth, whether I am actually going to see if I can reuse this. Now, what they've done, should have shown you before, in here, what they've done, the cabling in here is coming up into here. The line is put into the switch on this piece of cable. The line then comes down here and into the other side of the switch, and the neutral and the earth are basically tied together with a chop box. So I'm going to have to try and work. I don't have a lot of room to put in a switch here. I think the switch is going to stay put. I'm just going to try and work out how I'm going to do it, or the best way to do it. And then obviously we've got junction boxes to go up there. This bit of the wall is going to be chock full of cables and junction boxes to start with, because obviously we've got the main feed coming up here, then we've got a feed that goes to this room back here, so that's an independent light which will be independently switched. Then we've got a power line that's got to come through here to this light in the main room, and we've got two lights there and there. So then we've got a power feed coming all the way along here. We've also got a power feed that's got to go along to the back room where that wall is there. There's going to be a wall across there, and there's going to be another light back there with another switch. So this area here is going to be a massive junction boxes and cables. And I'm trying to work out the best way. I've done a diagram somewhere of how to do it all. So we'll just go from there. By the way, I could have run a single length of cable, a single length of conduit across there. It would have been just over 2 meters. But it looked terrible when I did it the first time. I haven't put it on the video, but it looked horrible. Because the conduit was twisted and bent, and it just, yeah. So what I've done is I've done 2 1 meter lengths with a through box. It will look much neater. At the moment I've done that because I don't need to feed that into the box just yet, so that will connect into that T-piece. So I'm going to have a look at how I'm going to put these junction boxes in, and then we'll come back. Right, so I've got the lighting circuit switched off there. So this is what it currently looks like. So inside, okay, so we've got a lighting feed coming up, which you can see there. So that brown one coming up from there is this one. So the other one is this one going up to the light. And then as you can see, the neutrals and the earth are just blocked together. Now, I'm thinking, what if, so I don't have to muck about with the cabling that's in here already, because as you saw, in here, it's not easy to get to. What if I Wagoed all of the cables connect, this, get it right, so this cable coming up, if I Wagoed it directly to this cable, so effectively that then this feed becomes the power feed for all 3 rooms, and then we'll have to drop a 1.5 mil back down here to switch out the main part of the room. Is that as simple as we can get? I appreciate dropping 2 1.5 mil Twin and Earths down a 20 mil conduit is not ideal, but it means I think it's a better solution than trying to do it down this one. I think, and then we'll get rid of that T-piece and put a bend in, an inspection bend in there rather than a T-piece. So we've got that cable then, which will be the switch line, can come down here, and I'll reclip it so it's away from that gas pipe, which you just about see is a gas pipe there. So I'll reclip it so it's away, I'll try and keep it away from that. So that's the power feed. So the power feed will come up into the junction boxes I'm going to put in, and then the switch feed will come back to the light. So over here, what we've got, let's see if I can try and explain it. It'll make more sense when I put it up. So the main power feed now will come up into the bottom one here. The top one is going to go to the outside light. I forgot about that, the outside light. On this side, we've got a power feed that will come out of the bottom, and that'll go to this, and this is going to be where the gas room is. So that'll control the light and the switch for that. The other power feed will then come out of there into the power feed for this one, and I've lost it. And that's a power switch. Sorry. Now come into the power feed for this one, and that's for the main room. Then the power feed will come out of that one, will go along to the back room. Then the switch feed from this will then come this way down to the switch, which is here, which is over there. And the load will then go off to the 1, 2, 3 lights. It'll make sense, I think, when I get it up on the wall. I think it'll make sense then, but I think that could do it. So if I just Wago those together, then that becomes the power feed, and then I'll lay a new line, a new twin and earth back to the switch. I think that will work. Let's get those junction boxes up on the wall and let's see where we go from there. Right, let's do an update. So that is the arrangement for those junction boxes. I'll get up close and personal in a second with that. So what we've got, let's come down to the switch and to see what I've done to the switch. Focus, there we go. So hopefully you can see this. So we've got blue is the switch line. I'll brown sleeve that. The other line is the common. That's going back up the line. That's the lighter grey cable. That's the original cable, which is now going into that splitter, which is feeding the power in this quick wire switch and load. The top one, that's the load. That's going across to the existing light, which is there, and the cable coming back round, the darker blue, the darker grey one, that's the switch light. That's the switch cable, and that's coming down here back to here, and that's what goes into the base plate. Now at the back, got the earth Wagoed off there because there's no earth into the switch. In the back you can see the inline Wagos, so I've connected straight through from the consumer unit at the MCB. I've connected up the cable that was originally coming down here straight through. So all those cables, line, neutral, earth, that are now going straight through. So it makes that light grey cable the power feed. So I've been able to do that without faffing about inside the consumer unit. So that arrangement up there is now all ready for me to do the next stage. So the top feed there, that's going to go off to the PIR controlled light. I've lost myself. The power feed, continual power feed at the top of the white one, that's going to come around. That's going to come around and come across it on this board to that light and switch. So there'll be another light and switch thing. Well, of course there will be. Yeah, there'll be another light and switch there. So that'll be that. And obviously there'll be. Well, there will be a load. Actually, thinking about it, I'm just trying to think how I'm doing this. Sorry. No, sorry, got that wrong. Power feed for that will go along. It's going along to the far wall, the far room. A single light down there. The bottom part of this one underneath is going to come across here. So it's going to go across that cable. That's not much. I can't help that. And that's going to come across here. So I'm chuffed with that. So I'm pleased with that. Let's get that into focus. There we go. So that's all focused up now. Oh. See, so I'm pleased with that. So that arrangement there now allows me to put all the lights into place. So it's just which set of lights I'm going to do first. really. The outside light I'm going to do last. I can't do that today. It's pouring out the rain outside, so that can't be done. Hopefully the weather will be better tomorrow. So I'm thinking I might actually lay the line. I might lay the power cable that's going to go down to the end here. And that's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a kinetic switch. Kinetically controlled up that end. So I might lay that cable next. And then lay the cable. So that cable goes that way, then lay the cable off to the gas room. Yeah. Lay those cables in and then we'll work out where the lights are going. Okay, that's a quick recap. So what you can see now is we've hang on, where are we? Right, so we got this one. This cable here is the new cable for the back row, which I've now threaded all the way through here, and what we've got on this beam here is our transmitter unit, our RF unit, which is from Energy, and that is what's we're going to use to have a wireless switch there. So, cable comes in, and then the low cable comes out the top and goes round. It's all going to be clipped up, all nice and neat, but obviously at the moment we're just doing this temporarily, putting some temporary lights up. And we're waiting for the actual lights to arrive, and obviously, like I say, this scene is going to be boarded at that point, so this is all just temporary, but we've got to clip the cables in and make some temporary light there. So don't forget the kinetic switch is actually going down there. So we're going to finish that up first. Then what we're going to do today is we're going to take out that T and we're going to put in an inspection bend for the socket, get those cables down here and get them done. Then that's out of the way, that's finished. Obviously we'll hook this cable up into that as well. Then we're going to work on the main part of the room, which will be that light, and that light, and then decommissioning that one. And after that, we've had the outside light arrive, but it's chuck it down with rain, so we can't do that at the moment. And then we've got this one, which is the gas room light, which is going to have a PIR, which hasn't arrived, which is a real pain. That was supposed to arrive this morning and it hasn't, so we'll have to think about that one when we come to it. Right, so as you can see, we've got the receiver and the light, the temporary light, all fitted up. Plenty of, I know it looks a mess, but that cable there's plenty of slack on that cable. That's roughly, as you can see, it's new enough in halfway. It doesn't have to be exact at the moment. Just needs to be, as close as we can get it. Like I say, it's a temporary light, and we'll put the better ones in later. So we've got plenty of slack on that cable, ready for the proper lights when they arrive. But just to show you, so this is Energy. It's an alternative to Kinetics. So here's the switch, the kinetic switch, and if I just do that, look at that. It's the little things in life that make you smile, but that's brilliant. I love that. Cool. So I'm going to mount this switch on the wall behind me, do that, and then that's this circuit completed, and I can worry about this one down here. I'll do that one next. Oh, forgot just to say, this will be the longest part of the new lighting circuit. So when I do my tests on the new circuit I've put in, I'll be testing at this end here. So yeah, to get my readings and stuff, because like I say, it's the longest leg. Well, things were going well. It just shows sometimes things don't go right for electricians or anybody else for that matter. But after I shot the last scene and showed you that kinetic switch was all working nicely with that rear light, it went wrong and doesn't work at all now. So currently the light is actually permanently on at the moment. I could try something. Hang on, I'm going to try something. just for a minute. Okay, so the main light is still working and the back light has now gone off. He said something anyway, I didn't want that permanently on. So I've got to send that switch back, and that new one isn't going to arrive till tomorrow. Waited an hour setting all that lot up and got nowhere apart from put the light up. There were some choice words, I can tell you. Anyway, let's forget about that. Let's move on. Right, so I'm going to do the sockets next. I think, as you can see there, over there. Get the sockets done, and then we'll get the rest of the lights done and get this other light decommissioned. And we'll have to worry about the backlight tomorrow. Right, sockets. So as you can see, it's all in there. Took a little while. It wasn't as bad as I think it was. So we've now got the, if I focus that, there we go. So we've now got the 20 in. And what you can probably see there, just kind of look there, there are 3 line cables going to the top of that MCB, and I'll tell you why in a sec. The neutral's up in there and the earth is over there. In order to get behind there, I'd have had to have taken all that lot out, so I've tried to make it as big as I can by adding that in. What I've done here is I couldn't do what I wanted to do, which was just run one cable down here and then into there. I could not get those cables out from behind there. I think what's happened is that the earth has been twisted together. I can't untwist it. The only way to do it would be to take everything off and just to get those out. We're talking a day's work to do that, and I'm not doing that. So what I've done is we've converted that to a radial. That was a ring, so I've taken out the link. So we've got one leg of a radial going in there, another leg of a radial going to the top one, and then the other radial going on there. So it's basically a T-junction, but I've done it in the MCB, which is perfectly fine. It's not against the regs to do that. Not the way I'd like to have done it, but I'd have spent all day trying to sort that mess out, and I'm not doing that. It's not worth it not to do if you can do it another way. So we're going to get those back on the wall, and then we're going to run some tests, and then we'll get back to do the lights. Right, quick update as to where we're getting to now. So we've mounted one like that. So we've mounted one light there, one light there, and as you can see we've got a 1.5 cable across between those 2 beams, around there, along here, up here, and into that light there. Come on, focus, there you go. So that's all in there like that. Enough slack because the actual light, where the light is actually going to go, is there and there. So there's plenty of slack on these cables, so I'm just going to cut it at the end of here and then push it all back up into there. So like I say, when the real lights come and the boarding is done, there'll be plenty of slack. So that's all done. Now, to get the power feed, or to get the cable to the next light, we're going to decommission this one by cutting the lighter of the 2 grey cables. That will then pull back and pull into here. So that'll do that, and then we'll rearrange the other cable down the other end. Now, it's going to be a bit neater doing this for doing pendant lights, because the switching has already been done by the quick wire at the far end. So this is just simply looping power feed between lights. It's a lot simpler than normally hooking up pendant lights in a room. These quick wires are great for saving time like that and making wiring easier. Right, better get on. Came up with an interesting issue just now. I've always used the quick wires to wire downlights, not pendant lights in a normal, loop to loop to loop arrangement. When I tried to wire these lights up in the way I'm always used to with pendant lights, it didn't work. And it didn't work because the quick wire junction boxes are wired slightly differently to make things easy for you, kinda. Now that I've worked this out, with pendant lights, there's a little bit extra you've got to do. So I'm going to put two diagrams up. This diagram is how you would normally wire up two pendant lights to a single switch. Okay, so you can, I think most people know how to do that. However, this is how the inside of a quick wire is wired. And I'll put it up and you can see that how it's wired down to the switch, and then it's fed off to the light. Can you see the difference? The difference is that the inside of the junction box is wired so that the switch line and everything is actually so that the line coming out is actually how you would expect it to be. Line is brown, neutral is blue, and so on. So you've sleeved as normal down in the switch, but it's switched around inside the junction box in layman's, in simplistic terms. But what that means is when you get to the pendant lights you're putting in, when you get more than one, you've actually got to do a bit of jumpering, and I'll show you what I mean. So here is a light, and let's just focus that in. There we go. Normal pendant light. Now what you would normally do, so the light grey one, this one, what you'd normally do is the switch line, which would normally be blue and sleeved brown, would head into here. And then the line, the normal line feed, would go into loop, and then the next line on would take another brown and you'd head on and off. But if you do that with the quick wire, this light would come on, and that one wouldn't, because it's actually gone neutral. It's really neutral, line is really line. So it's not the way you would normally do it. So what you have to do is the incoming line, which is this one, you've got to, if I show you what I've had to do, I've had to put in a little jumper in between the loop and the line feed here. If I put that jumper in, there we go, I'll put that little jumper in, and then the feed coming in from the quick wire goes into loop, and then this goes off, heads off as normal, off to the next line, and then the neutrals as normal go into here. That's the difference. When you then turn it all on, this light comes on, and so does that one. And just to prove it, come back to the board, focus, turn the switch on, turn the power on. If I turn the switch off, I won't do it there because I've got it off the wall. But there you go. So there you are. I didn't know you had to do. I didn't know that. I should have, probably. Should have realised that. However, there you go. So if you're using the quick wire, standard pendant lights with the loop in the middle, you know, the usual stuff, and you're trying to do that, just bear in mind when you do it and you're putting it in, you'll probably find the lights no longer work. Well, you'll find the first one will work and nothing else will. And that's why. Because the cable has been turned back into a normal cable within the quick wire box. So it's not the way you'd expect it to be, getting to the first light. So the only way around it is to do what I've done there. Put a little jumper in. Once you've done that, it'll all come back to life. I didn't know that. So there you go. I don't think there's another way of doing it. It's a nice, neat and tidy way of doing it, but you've just got to remember to do it. Otherwise you'll find that you turn the switch on, you'll have one light come on and nothing else. So within a room, if a room's got more than one light, more than one pendant light. So just bear that in mind, and I'll remember that in future. So there you go. Right, I'm going to put the third light, oh god, I'll fall over. Put the third light in there. So what I've got to do is disconnect the lighter grey cable from the box over there, disconnect that, pull it back, and that will be the feed that will end up looping to the other two lights on the other side of the room. Run a new piece of cable from there through up here. I'll mount the light on this beam, and then that'll be the first light in this section. So what I've got to do, as I've just mentioned, I mustn't forget to take the loop, the jumper out of there and put it in the first light. It only has to be in the first light, and then it all works after that. So I must remember to take that jumper out of there and put it in this one, and then I've got to make sure that I've wired that one. So I'll make sure I've wired that one correctly, as it would be that one. Yes. So I'm right. So when you do, if you did a quick wire in a room with multiple pendants, the only light you've got to change is the very first light. All the other lights you can leave alone. Yeah, that's right. There we go. Right. Okay. Maybe using quick wire junction boxes for what I'm doing here may not have been the best way to do this, because I was wrong in what I said earlier on. This little jumper wire has to be in every light except the last one in the line, because you basically got a standard cable now from the quick wire. So the quick wire is coming in. You don't have a switch line and a common line. It doesn't exist. You've got a line and a neutral now, as you would do normally. So I remember to retrofit every single. That's a good thing. I've only got 3 lights. Got 3 lights in this room, and I've got to put this loop piece of cable, piece of conductor in each one. Well, in 2 of them. In 2 out of the 3, I've got to put it in. So it's not really that much of a hassle. But in retrospect, doing what I'm doing, well, the quick wire way of doing it, but the best way of doing it, don't know. But luckily I've only got 2 lights in here, which I'm doing. Ironically, what is going in here are spotlights, so it won't make any difference anyway. So I won't have this problem when the spotlights go in. I'm only having this problem because I'm putting the temporary lights in, but it does show an interesting conundrum with the quick wires, which I personally didn't realise. There you go. We live and learn. So I'll just jump with this other light up, and then it'll all work with all the temporary lights, and we can wait for the down lights to come, and we won't have this problem. So there we are. We are operational. Look, it's great. Love it. There's the light switch. Make sure it works. There we go. Oh, it's dark now. Just shows how late it is. Right. So the main room temporary lights are in. I've got a bit of tidying up to do. As I say, there's a lot of slack on all those cables. There's a good reason for that, because we need that for later. But I do need to tidy it up a bit. It's a bit messy up there. Again, a bit messy in that section there as well. But those 3 lights are the main room lights. In the back, you can see there's a light there, which we've been working on. A little stringy thing you can see is the RF transmitter. Just waiting for a new switch because it broke. What else we got doing? Oh, yep. Sockets are all in. So there you go. All that's all in. Sockets all done. So that's finished. So I'm left with 2 jobs. I've got an outside light to put in, which is going to be powered from there. Go straight out. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to do that yet. I haven't quite worked that out yet. And then obviously this room here, I know it doesn't look like a room, but it is a room. This is going to be the gas room, and we've got a light to put there, so I'll put that up and run the cable in across there. And a PIR is what we've decided to do for this room, so I need to get the PIR, and that'll be Monday. Thank you. Not doing the outside light because of that, so we'll close that door. I'll do that. There we go. So that's us done for the day. Few little foibles put us back a bit, learning about that quick wire. Obviously, as I was saying, the quick wire conundrum only came about because I'm using the pendant light fittings with the loop stuff. Eventually these are going to be replaced with downlights, and we won't have the problem, so it won't be an issue. But that was an interesting thing. So the loop connection, by the way, has to go into every light except the last one. It's not a major thing to do to the lights, but you just have to remember it if you're having to do any remedial work and putting these quick wires in, then and there's more than one pendant light in a room, you're going to have to put a jumper in. Otherwise it won't work. I don't know how often you'd get in a situation like that. Anyway, if you're having to do that sort of work, it sounds to me like you'd be upgrading a room anyway with lighting, so it wouldn't matter. But anyway, just in case anyone comes across that, that is the problem. I might put a short video together just for that one. Anyway, done for the day. We're back on Monday, and we'll get this last bit done. Put the PIR in, fix the switch at the back, and we're done in here then. So, good morning. So we're back here again, and we've made some progress with the outside light, given it's nice and sunny and warm today for a change. I'll show you exactly the fun and games we've had with trying to get the cable over to the outside light in a second. But first of all, we'll show you exactly what we've got the back room finished. Remember, just a short while ago in the video, the kinetic switch broke. So I'll just show you that it actually does work now that replacements arrived. So I said kinetic, it's not kinetics, it's NJ. I've got to get the manufacturer right. So as you see, we've got to get the cabling right, but like I said before, these are only temporary lights that have gone up, so they're still planning on a ceiling going in. That middle light is going to come out. I might, if I get time, I'll get it out today, but the client said they might do it. So there's the RF transmitter box. It's already all paired. I'll just come over here, and here is the switch. Now I've decided, because this is so uneven, this brickwork, what I've done is I've mounted it to a back box, and they're able to be mounted back on a back box or directly to the wall, or they can be stuck to the wall. I chose to do it this way. Anyway, so I'll just flick it down, and as you can see, nice and works. There we go. So that's all working. So well, the only room we're left with is the gas room, which is that one. Now the PIR's just arrived, so I'm going to go and get that in a minute, and we'll get that bit finished. But while we're waiting, I'll show you what we've got done. So as you can see, nice sunny day. So what the client wants is that solar powered light is going. So that's going to come off, and the new light that's been delivered on Friday afternoon, that is what's going there. So we've got to get the power from here across the porch. Now the fun and games we've had is you'd think, well, it'd be dead easy to just come off that through there. Yeah, however, not quite as straightforward as that, as I'm just about to show you. So the light is actually the other side of that wall there. It's about there somewhere. So I've taken down the insulation from these sections. As you can see, my drill is there. So we've had to get the angle right. That first one, the angle was wrong. Second one, I got the angle right. Now, what I didn't realise is that we've got wood, then brick, and then wood again. So I was able to get through the first bit with my SDS drill, but the SDS drill would not, come what may, go through the second bit of wood. Just would not do it. So what I've had to go and get is one of these. That is a 400mm wood bit. That's a 12mm. There's a 10mm sitting in there at the moment. And I'll just show you that. Oh God, this ladder. There we go. Right, come up the ladder. So I'll just put my torch on. There we go. You can just about pick it out. There we go. So come through. I might have to use the 12mm to widen that hole up a bit. I'm not sure. But anyway, so we've come through there. Maybe a little bit high. Could have done with it being a little bit lower. But we've come through there. So what we'll do is we'll put a 1.5mm through there, and then probably what we'll do, because all this is being boarded up, probably what I'll do is I'm either going to come underneath this beam or I'll drill through. Now I've obviously got to be careful because this is a gas pipe. I've got to be careful. So if I do drill through that, I've got to be careful. I'll probably drill through as close to this bit here. Probably, I can't come too close actually. I'm going to come through about there. And then do that. And then that can come through and then straight into there. And then hopefully I can drill through all those beams right out to the outside, and then we can mount the light. So yeah, so I think probably what I'll do next is probably get that sorted out, that bit there. Then I'll drill this hole, and then we'll have the fun and games of fishing the twin and earth cable through that hole, through the void, through the brick, through the wood, and out the other side. I've got my fishing rods with me, so I might have to use those. But we'll see how we go. Right, well, would you believe it? Yep. There you go. Well, would you believe it? Cable actually went through that hole first time. I would have put a safe bet that twin and earth wouldn't have got through that hole first time. But look at that. Well, there you go. Let's give myself plenty. It's got to go into there through that joist. Well, I'll be cool. Right, so let's get those holes cut and get it through to where we need it to be. Right. So, okay, so we've got all that. Right, so we've got all the insulation back up. The only one we haven't done is that around the corner, but as you can see, that's where the cable goes. We managed to get it outside. And that's where it's come out, that's where we're doing. Yeah, there's two screws that are there, are actually for the old light, and they actually match almost exactly where the new backplate is going. That's the new backplate. So that went up at an angle to get it in, so that's fine. I'm going to leave that insulation panel down just for the minute, and we'll see, because what we might have to do, may have to dig a channel or cut a small channel to put that cable in. Not sure yet. Let's have a think about that. Yeah, I'll have a think about that. Right, that's the outside light done. That needs a bit of tidying up, and the bracket needs to be put on. That cable there, where's it going? There it is, that one there. Snaking in there, going through there, above the porch. Come out here, and one outside light. It's on at the moment. We just need to change all the settings on it. I don't know how long that'll stay on for initially. I'll check the manual. But yeah, so that's done. So now we can work on the gas room light. Okay, the last light is in place. As everything else, loads of spare cable because of where it's going to go in the end. Plenty of slack there. Run the cable all the way along there. Along there and into the splitter. So that's all in there. That's kind of the brains of the outfit, if you like. And as you can see, that light's now gone off and come back on. What we've got behind there, that is a microwave sensor behind that light. So that's how we're doing this, and avoiding any potential sparks from switches and things near this gas meter. What this room is, just to remind people, that's where the wall's going. There'll be a wall there, so this will be all walled off. And this door will be the access point for people to access the gas meter. That's why this is on a PIR. Might sound odd, but I've just tested it and it works fine. Coming through the door works. So just keep it on there just for a second. I'll move, and there you go. So done. So all the other lights, put these 3 lights on. So this switch, the main room lights, those 3, and then down here. Oh, and here we have got the Energize switch, which operates that one. And then we've got the outside light, which is all done as well. Just go and check it, it should be working. Oh, obviously the sensor lights need to be calibrated. It's a bit difficult, there you go. And it's working, there you go, fine. They all need to be calibrated, but we can't really do that until it gets dark, so. Right. You've seen inside this consumer unit, you've seen how tricky it is and messy it is to get hold of cables and things. And in here is obviously the line, so the cable that runs in here goes up here, goes to the garage lights that are just in all fitting. In this particular case, I don't need to do my dead tests, opening this box up, fishing all the cables out, disconnecting them from all the MCBs and stuff. I don't have to do it from there. I can actually do it from here. Because I've actually connected these cables up to make the power feed go through, so I've adapted it. I can actually disconnect from these inline Wagos, and I can do the dead tests from here, because the length of cable from there into here is negligible. It would be within the margin of error of my tester, so that really doesn't matter. So I can test from there. Not only that, but the longest leg just happens to be to here, and in there I can actually put my probes on. I can take that cover off there, I can put my probes on, and I can actually test all the way through to here. Again, this piece here is negligible. It really wouldn't, even if you added that bit to that bit, it's still going to be within the margin of error of my tester. So in this case, I've been really lucky on my dead tests, because a lot of times when you're doing dead tests and stuff, especially with lights, it's not easy to do, as you've seen in my previous videos. But in this case, I've been able to do it. And also, this is perfectly valid on the sockets, because this is part of the radial and I can access it here easily. I can actually do my dead tests, my continuity tests from that socket to that socket without having to open the board up. So the new garage socket's continuity 0.15. So just in this case, I've been lucky. I can do these tests without having to open up the consumer unit. It wouldn't be the case in all properties and things. It's just so happens that's how I've designed it and how I've built it in here. That I actually don't need to actually interrupt the client and turn all the power off. What I have had to do, obviously, as you can see, I've had to isolate all this on the RCD, because almost certainly if I'd have jumped that there to there with the RCD on, it would have thought, oh, hello, and probably tripped the RCD in the process. So yeah, I've got to turn off that end, but that doesn't matter, because all those bits on that end are really just lights and things. So we can live without lights for a few minutes while I'm doing my testing. All this is all sockets in the house and things. So yeah, just by chance, the way this house has been wired, I've been able to do this way. Makes things a lot easier. So if you do come across this kind of thing, just keep a lookout around and near the consumer unit to see if you can do your continuity tests and stuff without having to open up the board. You might be lucky in some cases, especially if you've got arrangements like this where I've got a light switch there, which I've been able to change, and obviously I've got sockets there which I can change. Yeah, I've been lucky in doing that in that. So, but like I say, Wouldn't happen in all cases. Right, so the lights came out as 0.25. Okay, so let's just put these on. This is the RCD test. All fine. I'm going to check, but I believe that RCD is an AC, not an A. So it's only I need to do the AC testing. For that, no problem there, so that's fine. Okay, just the RCD test. Comes up so 6, 51, 29, 18. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, little demonstration. Don't forget that this is going to be all 3 rooms. The gas room light just went off. So this is going to be all 3 rooms. So right now we've got the right. It's a microwave sensor down there, and if I move, it sets it off. Right, hang on. Let's get right. So right now we've got the 3 lights. They are the ones in the main room, with the back room light currently off. We now have the back room light on. If I move a little bit, there you go. That's the gas room light. Now, this bit here will be boxed off. So the only way into that room will be there. So that light will only come on when someone opens that door. That's the idea. And obviously there's going to be a wall right across here. So this one will only light up in this room, and then the 3 middle ones there. And then obviously we've got the new socket in there. The fridge freezer, which is sitting here, is moving across. So it's going to sit between there and there. Yeah, so I'm pleased with all that. That's all done. Obviously, like I say, the cables have got a little bit of slack on them because the final lights, when they arrive, won't be in those positions. And obviously the client's considering a ceiling going in, and then there'll be downlights in those 3 positions. The positioning of the lights is correct, so there'll be downlights in those 3 positions. Possibly a downlight or a batten light in this section, and that's going to be a downlight in that section there with the PIR. So they're all in the right places. It's just they're not the right lights. When the full ceiling goes in, or when I get told that the full ceiling is going in, I'll come back and then we'll get all these in the right places, and the job's finished, done. But that'll be a while. I think I'm not quite sure. That'll be probably in a couple of months before that part of this job will be done. There's a lot. Obviously, there's a lot to be done in here. The walls have got to go in, and the partition walls have got to go in, and other bits and pieces before that happens. So, but at least the electrics are done. They're in. You could call it first fix if you like. It's not quite first fix, but it's close. And then we'll go from there. So my job is done for the time being. We've got a couple of other jobs to do. We've got some spotlights to do at the back of the house, and we've got a residual current problem in some of the LEDs elsewhere in the house. I'm going to have a think about how to solve that. I know you can do it with capacitors and things, but I just want to have a think about how to do it properly. And we're done. And obviously we've got the outside light as well. So that's all done as well. And I've recalibrated that so it comes on in the evening now. Yeah, so. Okay, all done with this job. See you on the next one.